Good afternoon and welcome. This presentation looks at the use of creative technologies to offer inspiration and opportunity for reflective practice during the COVID-19 pandemic. This pandemic for many has been a time of deep crisis. It has caused and continues to cause untold grief and suffering for many. Yet for others, it has been a moment of kairos, the opportune time to think anew, to explore new avenues, to consider options, to learn and connect differently. Digital connections and learning has been brought to the fore with all its complexities and possibilities. All of us have been invited, cajoled, and even persuaded to pivot towards digital technology. We have been able to connect in new ways, and words like Zoom, Teams, webinars have become an integral part of our lives. Every learner and teacher has grown accustomed to learning in a new way. And in this kairos moment, every person has been both teacher and learner. In a world when we have all been connected so closely by a singular context, every person was immediately familiar with the COVID-related vocabulary: social distancing, quarantine, sanitizing, working from home, masks, and wash your hands. There was a strange connection among people both locally and globally. And as life continued with people turning to screens and devices for news, work, prayer, and learning, a new community developed, a community that surpassed geographical boundaries. Collaboration and networking through a digital world became possible in ways that was never considered before. It brought together people from different walks of life that shared interests beyond their professional work and occupation. We began to understand the deeper realities of a pandemic and how they impacted so many in so many different ways. And thus began a journey of walking together to unearth the meaning of events that touch us and shape our reality. To become aware of the many realities that might be alien to us, but are the daily lived experience and realities of so many others around us. For me, it was about engaging with, as David White says, the questions that have no right to go away. Through online reflections and webinars over Zoom, Teams, and open broadcaster software, I sought to reach out to people to invite reflection in this time of both crisis and kairos. It gave me the opportunity to collaborate with amazing artists and thinkers who were reflecting on this pandemic and discovering new insights about the world, about society, and most importantly, about themselves. Through music, art, poetry, scripture, thought, and personal reflection, a new global community connected by a common context and a desire to learn and discover what was being revealed to us was being born.
We know things in the core of our being that we have not necessarily been taught. And some of this deep knowing may actually be at odds with what our culture or religion or nation has tried to teach us. To awaken again to this deep knowing is to be transformed in how we will choose to live and relate and act. The problem is that we keep forgetting, or we live in ways that neglect this deep knowing. Thus, the crises that we are in the midst of today, whether ecological, political, or societal, in which we treat the earth and one another as less than sacred, And all these critical issues of today are interrelated. The way we have wronged the earth is the way we have dishonored the feminine or belittled the so-called other, whether that be the other nation or religion or the other race or sexual orientation. How are we to awaken again to the sacredness at the heart of all life and the sacredness that is also at the heart of our own being?
We explored questions that would not go away. We considered options that presented themselves. We awakened to realities that were somehow hidden behind the haze of our busy lives. We became aware of the realities of many people that we just did not see, be they the homeless in our streets, the migrant worker in India, the person living with their domestic abuser, the elderly in nursing homes, the truck driver, the nurse, the person at the till at a supermarket, and so many more silent and hidden people. In the midst of this unraveling, we saw how a single poem written by a friar in Dublin grew legs and traveled the world, touching the hearts and spirits of so many people across the seeming divides of culture and language. The poem was translated into many languages and expressed in so many different art forms, from spoken word to song. It grew from just words on a page written by one person in the confines of his room to a visual masterpiece of global collaboration.
But they say that in Wuhan, after so many years of noise, you can hear the birds again. They say that a hotel in the west of Ireland is offering free meals and delivery to the housebound.
You're so welcome.
All over the world, people are waking up to a new reality.
Through a series of online reflections, I was able to invite people into moments of personal reflection, inviting them to look at that which was familiar from a different perspective. As teachers and facilitators, that is what we always do, inviting people into that space that allows them to look at things differently. In another webinar, we were able to offer hope to a global community through an online concert showcasing the music of Deirdre na Cnéide.
These are days of really, really dreadful anxiety for so many people. So if you feel that you need your hope refueled and your heart lifted, join Deirdre na Cnéide for this beautiful evocation of hope and cross the threshold of hope. Come over to the Aran Islands for a while, listen to beautiful music, look at beautiful places. It'll be worth your while.
You're very, very welcome. And it's an honour to be gathering with you from the island of Inishmore, the largest of the Aran Islands off the west coast of Ireland, and connecting with you all over the world for our gathering this evening called A Threshold for Hope.
From the warmth of a home on the Aran Islands, the hope expressed in her music and words reached an audience of more than 1,500 people across 32 different countries.
Have you forgotten who you are? Have you wandered so far? No trace of ancient story, but a tragedy of stone that stands alone.
it highlighted the interconnectedness of people, the intertwining of our realities, and the fertile ground of learning that is available to us in a shared context. All of this says to me that collaboration and networking with people of different backgrounds and ages allows for a connected learning to happen through the means of creative digital technologies. It says to us that we can learn so much from listening to each other. And if this pandemic has taught us anything, it must be that we can learn together, we can learn from each other, and we can learn from the lived experience of every person, especially the ones we are often blind to. Thank you.